Hey, everyone, we've got a incredible guest here. Ramon, he hails from Arizona. Ramon, can you share with everyone a little bit about you, about your history, about your team, about what you do?
Absolutely, yeah. I hail now from Arizona, but I originally
Me
hail
too.
from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I started my first real estate team, which ended up being a real estate brokerage in 2017, and have been in the leadership space in growing and in real estate teams, and been leading a team since about 2017. Since that time, we expanded into multiple markets. I moved myself to launch the new market in Scottsdale. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my entire world revolves around helping consumers, right, homeowners and buyers of real estate with successful transactions, and training and coaching our organization and our agent partners on how to thrive in their real estate careers. That is what my every single day revolves around.
I love that. So, helping your partners succeed, helping your partners win. Now, go back a little bit and how did you get started in real estate back in New Mexico? What was that? Tell me about that.
So I got out of college. I was going for a degree in finance, and I knew I wanted to get into real estate. I just knew real estate, but in my mind, real estate was like commercial real estate, like work for a publicly traded, real estate investment trust, which is what I ended up doing. So I moved down to Florida. You do the whole get an internship and then finish your last year in college. They offer you a job. I did all that, like the teed up exactly what you're supposed to do in college, and it was a phenomenal company, Camden Property Trust. Like, couldn't say enough great things about that company. It's a publicly traded real estate investment trust that buys and develops multifamily properties across the United States.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and so I worked for them and I loved it. And God, it was such a great experience. But the 9 to 5 part killed me. I mean, just being straight up, like I just being at a desk, I was freaking falling asleep at lunch, like just bored. And
Right.
when I got back to Albuquerque to finish my last year of college, I was really like, what am I going to do? And it was my dad who actually made the suggestion and said, you should get your real estate license. Now, my dad's a builder. Okay. So in my life, real estate agents at the time were a necessary evil.
Sure. Yeah. No, I
Wasn't
get
like
it. Yeah.
promoted, pumped up, career. And I was like, man, I don't, bake cookies and hold open houses. I don't think so, dude. Like, it's not really my thing. And he says this. He goes, look, well, I just paid a real estate agent $25,000. And I was
Right.
like, whoa, 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 wait, what? Now remember, I have $250 to my name. So I'm like,
Sure.
25,000 for what? He's like, well, they had a client who wanted to build a home. They didn't want to buy one. So they brought the client to us, and we paid them a percentage of the total build value, the total value of the property. It was about $1 million. And I'm like, and you paid him 25,000 for that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, that's normal? He's, yeah, not out of the ordinary. He's like, now, you're not going to be doing that your first day on the job, but
Right.
absolutely. He's like a really strong and talented real estate agent can make that all day long and twice on Sunday. And I said, I'm going to look into this real estate thing. 25,000 a pop. I do 10 of those. Now we're talking. I had some pretty ambitious
Right.
income goals coming out of college. So that piqued, honestly, that's what piqued my interest. And that's how I got started.
I love it. I love it. So, fast forward, you're doing business, you're successful in the space. When did you know it was time to build a team?
So first and foremost, I was not successful my first year. Frankly, I bombed it. I was getting ready to quit. I had to take a $10,000 loan out from my dad, which honestly, taking money from him was probably what I needed, because that was the all right. I cannot screw this up. Like
Yeah.
asking
Yeah.
asking him for 10 G's felt like asking for $1 million cash. Like that's
Right.
how it felt
Right.
at the time. And so I was like, man, if I take this money from my family's involved in my career now. Like I got to take this
Yeah.
serious. But the whole team space at the time, like I was at a Remax my first 2 years in the business. Teams were not glorified. I had heard of them because there was teams in our market, but my broker was like, "Oh no, teams are bad. Like it should be individual agent brokerage." Obviously, he was talking about his model, right? But when I thought about the team, I said, "Look, if brand recognition is a factor, and I have 10 other agents who are all wearing hypothetically my brand on their T-shirt, We're posting more on social media. We have more stakes in the ground. We are able to get more reviews, right? Cumulative reviews. To me, I'm like, it's kind of a, as long as you can make the financials work, it seemed like a no brainer. And so
Right.
I naively got into the team space, which ultimately I started an independent brokerage my second year in the business. So 2 years under Remax, third year I was running an independent brokerage myself,
And you
which
knew
we call,
everything, dude. I'm sure. You were
oh geez, no, knew absolutely nothing. And I'll tell you this real quick, because there's going to be team leaders and there's going to be people who are listening to this. The reason why I didn't go jump on another team or go to like a Keller Williams or wherever is because nobody recruited me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't actually know. Like I truly didn't know what else was out there. So I was like, all right, here are my options. Stay at Remax, start my own thing. Well, this sucks. So let me start my own thing. And
Right.
that's what I did.
Love it. I love it. So now you have a team. What are the most important roles in your team world today? What's that look like?
There's when you ask the first question, I'll get to the roles. When you ask the first question about how did you know it's time to start a team, or how did you get into that space? Like the most important overarching theme in my point is like the same adrenaline, the same self worth, the same excitement that you would get signing big listings. Like you have to feel that about helping agents succeed.
It's
Like
true.
you have to almost transfer that energy and where you get that fulfillment from. Like, and if you can't get that fulfillment that gets you up out of bed in the morning to help your people, I would say until you get that, teams probably, like, all the numbers and all the statistics aside, like if you just don't love it or you don't think you love it, then I wouldn't try it until you're ready. So the most important
In
roles,
fact, I started a team because I wanted to do less work and make more money. And that was like my mindset when I initially started. Very quickly you realize that that's not the case. First
well,
off, but
mine was more work, more money, because I was like, this is for sure harder.
well, I thought like, oh man, if I get a team together, they're gonna make all the money. I'm just gonna be it, right? And obviously that's not the case. But then it transitioned, and I found joy, and that's really similar to you. It's like my purpose. Like, dude, it is so cool to see someone close their first transaction, right? Like, it is so cool to see
Oh,
someone change someone's life and help them and see their
dude,
excitement and their joy from that.
dude, it's like when you quantify that, the way I was always explaining is like, oh, I feel good because I changed someone's life. I'm like, yeah, it's like cutting a check to charity. That's all great, but I want to put the dollars in my hands and put them to work. So you get to do that in a team, and when I explain it is like when you actually see somebody change the way that they consume information, the way that they think about themselves. Their kids go to better schools, they take better vacations, they
Yeah.
retire their significant other, they drive nicer vehicles, they make real investments. Like when you get to actually visually see the change over the years, like there is no greater joy, in my opinion, that I found in real estate than watching those transitions happen. I mean, it's like magic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we've got partners on the team that have been 7, 5, 4 years, and watching their kids, them have kids, and then bring their kids into the
I
world and
love it.
being a part of that. It's
I
so
love it.
cool. So, um, go.
You asked most important role in the team though. That's
Yeah, what do
the
you
I,
think
I
that
totally
is?
deviated.
No, you're good. That was great. I love that transition. That was good.
There's I mean, I don't want to say the team leader because I think that sounds a little arrogant, but you have to have people when it comes down to the sales side. I call them player coaches. And so you
Yeah,
can talk about a director of sales. Some people say like, you're number two in the business. It could be the team leader. It can frankly just be a super high performing agent. But the player coach, in my opinion, is the most dynamic person on the field at any given time. They can go do an alley oop behind the back, dunk the ball, but they can also teach the other person on the team how to do the same thing. And
yeah,
not every salesperson, not every high performing salesperson can also coach. Now they don't need to, right? Like that's if you don't, it's not a bad thing, but like having player coaches, because you have an organization that's driving, not managing. Like people get into the business because they want freedom. So like by sitting back in a desk and just managing it's not the same as driving. And I think actions are caught, not taught, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the player coach is the most important, hands down.
Yeah, in fact, we talk about it often in our organization. It's cash the vision and lead from the back, right? So the
Yeah.
actions not or caught not taught. I love that. Tell me, if someone were to shadow your team for a day, what do you think would surprise them?
I would say what usually surprises most people is that we have about a 90% um, attendance rate on our morning company calls.
Oh
We
wow.
call them power ups. We do them Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. in Arizona, 9 a.m. in New Mexico at this very moment. And yeah, having about a 90% attendance rate. So about 20 to 25 partners any given morning are all on the call, cameras on, participating, sharing wins. I think that's what would surprise most people is that is what our day starts with.
Yeah, no, that's huge. It gets kind of the mojo going, right? It gets people warmed up, gets people going, gets them plugged in, gets them ready for the day. I love that.
Yep.
What do you look for when you hire a partner to your team? What's that things those things you're looking for in an agent partner?
Yeah, there's two things, and one is blue collar work ethic, and I mean that like blue collar work ethic. Um, and I also look for coachability. If you have those two things, there's others, right? Everyone has kind of their magic formula, but above all, if you have, actually, I should say, if you don't have one of those two things, I probably can't help you.
Yeah.
It's not about having both. It's about if you don't have both, I probably can't help you. So yeah, blue collar work ethic and coachability by a long shot.
Yeah, I think we talk about it a lot, and it's there's learning based people and there's coachable people, right? Learning based people are they consume massive amounts of information, they love reading, they love learning, they love doing all the things, but they don't put it into play. The coachable ones will take what you're coaching, what you're training to, and they'll actually put it into play and see success.
And most people don't need more information, they need implementation. All the
Yeah.
information's out there. You go on YouTube today, there's nothing that we're going to say today that you can't find on YouTube or on Google or on ChatGPT. But the difference is, yeah, like you just said, are you willing to actually put it into play?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. What tell me a little bit about what how has your leadership style evolved over the years? What's changed in you and what you do?
Um, yeah, that's a really good question. I think that the one thing I had to realize very early on is, and if there's team leaders listening to this, like I've been the frustrated team leader where
Yeah.
you feel like you are just pushing the envelope every day. You feel like you're the only one who gives a shit. You are like cracking the whip and nobody's running with you. And I've been there. And what really changed in that time was early on in my career was first I had to look within before I looked like exterior, right? Like it was like, okay, if if the company itself is not moving in the right direction, that's probably a me problem, probably not a them problem. And
Yeah.
and when I looked at within me, it's really comes down to how you communicate. I think that's what's changed. Not everyone is motivated the same way, but also like a lot of your people, whether you know it or not, they don't think like you do.
Yeah.
Like when they wake up, they might have different thoughts than you have. Like, I had a consultant explain this to me a long time ago. They're like, when's the last time you ever gave someone a compliment? I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, like, I'm just, asking in general, like, do you compliment your people for their effort or their performance or, staying late at the office? Like, or do you just expect that? And I'm like,
Mm,
oh yeah, yeah, you're right. I just expect that. Like, why? Because you do that? And I'm like, yeah, because I'm the first one and last one out. So I don't applaud anybody for doing the same thing. And he's like, huh. You know that when people go home, and this sounds super funny, right? When I was 23, though, I was getting this lesson. You know, when people
yeah.
go home, they sit at the dinner table, do you know what they talk about? And I'm like, no, because I don't have a dinner table and I don't eat with anyone. No, I don't actually. What do they say? They say, how was your day? They say, yeah, I go out to eat and I go home and I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they say, how was your day, sweetie? How was your day,
Yeah.
honey?
Yeah.
and they talk to each other. It's like, do you know that they're like how you treat them at work is how they're going to convey to their significant other how their day was. And you know what, they can go, yeah, you know what, that guy Ramon, man, he's a real piece of work. He just freaking is like, he's aggressive, he's mean, he like makes people feel less than because he's, sells all this real estate. Or they can go home and go, you know what, man, Ramon, he actually told me that I'm like, he acknowledged the, I've been staying late at the office, right? And he came up to me and like clearly was like, hey, I really appreciate that. It doesn't go unnoticed. And so, yeah, I'm feeling really good. It was just a good day overall. He's like, the conversation completely can change based on your actions. But what you don't realize is how impactful the words, your attitude, your body language really is on your people. And so a
True.
lot of it was a lot of self reflection on like, how do I communicate? How do I use my hands? What words do I use? Do I talk, do I discipline in front of groups, or do I discipline or correct in private? Like small things about communication with your team. That is, I'm not perfect, but that is like, if I could pin down like, hey, this was probably the most transformative thing that I've gone through my career, it would be along those lines.
Man, that's so good because even as we're talking right now, I have a partner who's here on a Friday. We don't do power ups, and he's out there running the playbook. And first thing I'm going to do is show that appreciation, right? So I mean,
Dude, I got
that's
I got
such
one in
good.
the room right here too. Same thing. Only person with me Friday morning in the office,
Yeah,
cranking it out. Yeah, exactly. You got to acknowledge that stuff.
yeah, absolutely. What's your business look like? Like what when I say that, what's your model? Like where's your leads come from? What are your systems you're super proud of? What's that all look like for you?
Yeah, so our business today is probably, it really has been for the duration of my career, is about 75-70% self-generated, meaning, open houses, sphere of influence, stuff that we get from having listings, having great reviews online, etc., throwing client appreciation events. Um, and then the other 25 is, our paid lead generation. But we've really tried to keep a cap on our paid lead generation, because what we have a big focus on today, which has not been my focus, is really on the data behind the listing side of the business. And so something that I'm proud of is that the data that we import and bring in large quantities into our world, we are scrubbing it. We're only taking stuff with emails. We use propensity data, and we are actively marketing to these homeowners, sellers specifically. And when you only have 1,000 you're doing, okay, the results may not be, oh my gosh, they may not surprise you. But when you have 100,000 that you're prospecting to, we're creating opportunities in our database where we're seeing the sellers, by the engagement they have with our marketing, raising their hand and creating a world where within our database, you don't need to go external. Within our database, there are a plethora of listing opportunities that we're not perfect at it, but that is something that we're super proud of and building on, because we believe above all that a listing based business is the number one singular, is the best singular focus of any high performing successful real estate team above all. So we've really been honing in on our listing acquisition strategy.
There's just so many opportunities that come from a listing. You got the open houses you do on them. You have the sign calls. You have the text writers. I mean, there's it should turn into two pieces for every listing you have, right?
I,
An additional two
Yeah,
pieces of
like we
business.
we definitely quantify bonus business. That's what we call it, right?
Bonus
It's all
business.
the
Yeah.
business that comes from having the listing. Um, but yeah, I mean that's the game. And also I think it just provides clarity, because if I say, hey, go talk to 10 buyers today. I want you to talk to 10 buyers that want to buy homes. It's challenging. Like, if you just think about it, without lead generation, you've already exhausted your SOI. You can go hold open houses, but truly, what else are you doing to talk to 10 buyers today? If I say talk to 10 sellers, it becomes much more clear. The only way you can sell a home is you have to own it.
Right.
It's very, very, it's like, it just, I think it gives a stronger singular focus every day, that this is the client who we want to have conversations with, and the buyer business will come from that listing inventory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. That's a really good point. So, what if you could rebuild and you had to start from scratch today? What would you do differently?
Man, that's a great question. I would say that if I could rebuild, what would I do differently? Well, put it this way, I think there's two types of teams that you can operate, and if I had gone back, I would have operated this team. I would have grown my team proportionate to the amount of lead opportunities I was able to provide by the company. And when I say the company, I'm part of the company too. But like, more is not always better, better is better. And so when I look at, what my systems have evolved with, a lot of times we evolve our people count before we evolve our operation and opportunity count. And I would go back and I would stay lean and mean as long as I possibly can until I have more business than I can actually handle or my team can handle. And I would add on agents proportionate to that overflow. Um, that's probably like overall what I would have done differently, because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter where you're at in your team journey. You could be thinking about starting a team, or you can be 10, 20 years in. Like, we all know GCI, units, volume mean absolutely nothing. It all comes down to your bottom line. And so that would be a very bottom line focused business.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we I know a ton of team leads who, and I'm sure you do too. There's a lot of them out there who don't necessarily turn a profit on their business, so it's almost like they're
Yeah.
running a nonprofit at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
that gets just like an agent who say is running and maybe not seeing success right away after a period of time. I mean, it's got to hit you hard as a team leader.
Something's got to give. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. All right. In wrap up, um, quick question: what are you on track to hit this year with your team? So, if someone who's watching this understands, like, what your team production is, things like that. What's that look like for you?
Yeah, so this year we should be around the 300 to 325 mark in terms of units. Um, it's been a ride the last 3 years. I mean, from 2020 two to 23, like our best month or our worst month became our best month. And part of that was because we expanded locations. I moved to start the other location, all in the middle of interest rates getting tripled, by in 6 months. And so we've been steadily increasing since that time. And with the profit first, like the focus on making sure that our business is providing enough income that makes it worth running, makes it worth owning. And yeah, we're super excited about going into 2026.
I love it. I love it. And last thing, a piece of advice that you would give anybody thinking about building a team or someone who's leading a team that was super impactful for you. I know you shared the one earlier about, take care of your people and make sure that you're showing them love. Anything else that you can come top of mind?
Yeah, you can have the perfect pro forma. I've never seen a bad pro forma myself personally. You can have the perfect idea concept. It comes down to the people that are going to execute it with you. So like when you're looking at that leadership team, that director of ops, that VA, doesn't matter who it is. Like again, you can have the perfect model, but if you can't go out and execute it and have high level people around you that can help you grow it, you can struggle. So choosing and selecting that operations team, people who you consider your leadership team, is crucial. And a lot of our success is all. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot. Most of it is all because of having great people. I mean, I play a factor, but by no means am I doing everything.
Awesome, bro. Hey, well, thank you so much for jumping on here with me, Ramon. If you ever have anybody out in New Mexico or Arizona, hit him up. And stay tuned. The next episode on Teamology, we will have another guest talking about their experiences. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you got some value out of today.